Ants discovered agriculture 66 million years before humans did. Not as a metaphor, not approximately. They developed crop cultivation, pest control, and livestock management while our ancestors were still climbing trees, and the farm they built is running right now beneath your feet in your backyard. Those ants aren't foraging, they're farming. What you're about to find out is that the creatures crossing your patio right now invented agriculture, not recently, but 66 million years before the first human planted a seed. You'll find out how they grow their own food underground, how they discovered pesticides before we did, and why the colony beneath your feet is running an operation that would make most industrial farmers uncomfortable to look at. Your yard isn't a yard. It's been a farm for longer than our species has existed. Stay to the end of this video. The fungus beneath your garden has been kept alive without interruption for longer than our genus has existed, and the way it survived is the last thing you'll expect. 1. You've seen them carrying leaves. Most people have. A piece of something green, held overhead, moving in a line with dozens of others doing exactly the same thing. The common explanation, the one most of us carry without questioning it, is that they eat the leaves. They don't. The leaves are raw material, substrate. They carry them underground, chew them into a fine paste, and press that paste into the walls of the fungal garden, a living crop tended in darkness by workers who will spend their entire lives underground. At the center of all of it, somewhere deep in the nest, is a queen who has never seen daylight. She founded this farm, and when she dies, the farm doesn't die with her. Leafcutter ants, the species doing this in subtropical backyards and gardens across the Americas, are operating what researchers at the University of Texas at Austin have described as one of the most sophisticated agricultural systems ever documented in any animal species. The colony manages fungal monocultures, applies selective pressure to remove competing strains, and maintains consistent growing conditions across chambers that can run 20 feet below the surface. The analogy to industrial agriculture isn't poetic, it's structural. And that garden bed you worked so hard this spring, the one where you pulled weeds and turned the soil and laid down compost, the ants beneath it have been doing the same thing, with better pest control than you have. 2. The fungus the ants grow isn't found anywhere in nature outside their nests. That detail stops most people, because what it means is that the ants have been selectively breeding a crop for so long and isolating it from the wild so completely that the cultivated strain can no longer survive without them. It is domesticated. It depends on the colony the way a domestic cow depends on a farmer. The relationship goes in both directions. The fungus produces structures called gongylidea, swollen, nutrient-dense nodules that exist for one purpose only: to be eaten by ants. They didn't exist before cultivation. They evolved because the ants selected for them, generation after generation, in the dark. Scientists at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History, working alongside researchers from the University of Copenhagen, published findings in the journal Science showing this mutualism began approximately 66 million years ago, in the immediate aftermath of the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs, before grass was common on Earth, before the first horse had evolved, before most of the bird species in your yard had any ancestors worth naming. The ants domesticated a fungus before life on this planet looked anything like it does now. And the result of that 66 million year partnership is living beneath your yard. 3. The thing that most agricultural systems struggle with is disease. Grow the same crop densely in the same conditions, and eventually a pathogen finds it. That's as true for leafcutter and fungal gardens as it is for wheat fields. The specific threat is a parasitic fungus called Escovopsis, a specialist attacker that targets the ant's crop and nothing else. It co-evolved alongside the colony. It knows exactly what it's after. But the ants found the answer before we did. When Escovopsis takes hold, it moves fast. The fungal garden goes gray. The food supply collapses. Without intervention, the colony starves. Living on the bodies of leafcutter ants, in specialized grooves on their exoskeletons, are bacteria of the genus Pseudonocardia. These bacteria produce antibiotics, not metaphorically. The compounds they generate suppress Escovopsis specifically, protecting the crop at close range. Entomologists at the University of Wisconsin-Madison identified this system and noted that the ants were effectively deploying antibiotic treatment more than 66 million years before Alexander Fleming noticed mold growing on a petri dish in 1928. The antibiotic era in human medicine is 100 years old. In ants, it is ancient. When you see an ant walking across your garden wall, that ant is carrying a live microbial pharmacy on its body. It has carried one its entire life. It does not know this. And that's still not the strangest thing about what it's carrying. 4. Leafcutter ants live in the Americas, rainforests and scrubland from Argentina to Texas. But farming didn't stay there. The garden ants, most common in North American and European backyards, species like Lasius niger, the black garden ant you've almost certainly seen, have developed a different agricultural relationship. They farm aphids, they carry them, they protect them from predators, they move them to better feeding positions on plant stems, and in return, the aphids produce a sugary secretion called honeydew, a substance so valuable to the colony that ants have been observed fighting off ladybirds, lacewings, and parasitic wasps to keep their aphid herds safe. Researchers at Imperial College London found that ants actively suppress aphid wing development using chemical signals secreted directly from their feet to prevent their livestock from flying away. The aphids that live inside an ant territory are physiologically different from aphids that don't. They have been shaped by the relationship. The ants in your garden right now, the ones climbing your rose bushes or moving along the stems of your broad beans, they're not pests. They're running a livestock operation on your plants. And every decision in that operation is being made by something that has no decision maker. 5. There is something harder to explain about what the colony knows. A leafcutter colony can contain up to 8 million individuals. There is no central nervous system, no coordinator, no ant at the top who has seen the whole picture, and yet the colony responds to threats, adjusts to resource shortages, redistributes labor across tasks within hours, with a coherence that researchers at Arizona State University have compared to a single distributed intelligence. The colony behaves as if it thinks. It doesn't have a brain, but it has something that produces the same outputs. When foragers discover a new tree, information about its location doesn't get announced. It gets encoded in the behavior of returning ants, the angle of their gait, the chemicals on their bodies, the speed of their movement, and the colony reads that encoding automatically. No decision is made, and yet the correct decision gets made. Your yard is full of minds that don't exist as individuals. The ant you're watching is not the unit of thought. The colony is. But none of that is the strangest part. The strangest part is what happens when you kill them. When a colony is destroyed by pesticide, by flooding, by a predator breaking open the nest, the colony doesn't simply end. If a young queen is present, she carries a fragment of the fungal culture in her mouth and begins again somewhere else. Within days, a new garden grows from that fragment. The colony is gone. The fungus is not. That fungus has survived every disruption since the age it was first cultivated, 66 million years of ice ages, of continental drift, of climates that no longer exist. Not because it is resilient on its own. It has no resilience on its own. It cannot live outside a nest. It survived because the mechanism never failed. Not once. Not in 66 million years. The colony beneath your garden is not a colony that started in your garden. It is the continuation of something that has been passed, living from nest to nest, without interruption, for tens of millions of years. The fungus growing under your yard right now, in chambers 15 feet down, tended by workers who will never see daylight, is older than your house, older than your country, older than the genus Homo. And the ant that just crossed your path is carrying a cutting of it,